The party was for me, or at least that's what I was told. A quiet backyard affair, just close friends and family, nothing elaborate. I should have known then. My wife, Mia, never did anything quietly, not unless she was hiding something. I was standing by the grill, flipping skewers I didn't want to eat, nodding through a conversation I didn't start, when her friend Danielle came up behind me. She touched my arm, light, intentional, and whispered, "Can we talk? It's urgent." Her eyes weren't playing around. I followed her without a word. We walked past the patio, behind the shed, out of sight. That's when she handed me her phone. No preamble, no warning. Just unlocked it, hit play, and looked away. The audio kicked in instantly. Mia's voice, laughing, breathy. Then a man's, low, smug. "You think he suspects?" She laughed harder. "He's clueless. Still thinks I'm at yoga every Thursday." There was silence in my head, like someone hit mute on the world. The recording went on. "You ever feel guilty?" he asked. "No," she said, like the word meant nothing. "He's too boring to feel guilty about. And besides, you make me feel alive." Danielle was watching me now. I didn't give her the reaction she expected. No collapse. No explosion. Just a blink, a slow exhale, and a short nod. "When was this?" I asked. "2 nights ago." I didn't mean to hear it, but she left her phone unlocked in my car. She sent the voice message to him, then deleted it. "And you're telling me this why?" She paused. "Because you're a good man. You don't deserve this. And she's not going to stop." I handed the phone back and walked away. The skewers were burning when I returned. No one noticed. Mia was laughing with my sister, holding a glass of wine like her world wasn't seconds from detonation. I studied her face, smooth, rehearsed. The woman I married was in there somewhere, buried under layers of betrayal. I didn't confront her. I didn't need to. She'd already handed me the weapon. That night, I told her I had to fly to Chicago for work. She barely looked up from her laptop. "Safe travels," she said, already back in whatever spreadsheet she pretended to understand. I booked a room across town instead, checked in under a fake name. By morning, I had Danielle forward me the voice message. I saved it in 3 different cloud accounts. Encrypted copies. Timestamped. I started digging. Mia and I shared 2 bank accounts. By noon the next day, I had closed one, rerouted the other. She wouldn't notice. Not right away. Her financial awareness was as shallow as her guilt. That week, I met with a private investigator. Old contact from college, someone who owed me a favor. He had photos by Friday. Mia, the same man, same car, same hotel. Every Thursday, like clockwork. The man's name was Rylan. Divorced. 2 kids. Worked in commercial real estate. Mia listed him as a client on her work calendar, subtle, but not smart. I traced his firm. Found their quarterly reports, client accounts, vendor contracts. He wasn't a high roller, barely hanging on. And yet, somehow, he drove a new Audi and wore tailored suits. Curious. So I went deeper. Turns out, Ryland's last 3 real estate investments were funded by shell companies. Companies Mia helped register, under her maiden name. Accounts that were technically legal, but the origin of funds? That was the real trick. Because I recognized the deposits. They matched withdrawals from our joint business savings. The ones I had built before we married. That's when it stopped being about betrayal. It became theft. I didn't flinch. I didn't scream. I took notes. Week 2, I scheduled an appointment with a forensic accountant. Quiet guy, ex-IRS. Wore the same tie both days we met. He reviewed the records and leaned back. "She's moving money into Ryland's ventures through corporate shells. On paper, it looks like marketing spend, but the invoices are bogus." "How bad?" I asked. "Depends. If you go public, it's fraud. If you stay silent, it's embezzlement. Either way, she's exposed." I nodded slowly. "I don't want her arrested. I want her empty." He smiled. "Then you've got what you need." By the end of the 3rd week, I had everything documented. Bank trails, fake invoices, voice messages, time-stamped hotel footage. I compiled it into a single file. Clean. Untraceable. I named it Mia's Freedom. Zip. The final piece was personal. I ordered custom stationery. Clean cream paper, black ink, our initials embossed in gold. I wrote her a note. "I heard everything. I saw more. You'll understand soon." I placed it in her jewelry drawer, beneath the necklace I bought her on our 1st anniversary. The same necklace she wore to meet him. I waited for Thursday. She left around 6:15 p.m. Yoga mat in the trunk, smile on her face. I watched her from the upstairs window. As soon as her car pulled out, I moved. I packed only what was mine. The documents, the cash, the hard drives. I left the furniture, the dishes, the carefully curated home she thought she built. By 6:40, I was gone. No calls, no texts, just silence. The next time she'd hear from me would be through her lawyer. Because this wasn't about closure. It was about control. Mia didn't call that night. Not the next morning either. I knew her pride too well. She'd assume I was sulking, maybe nursing a bruised ego in a hotel bar. That's what she'd always believed about me. Soft-spoken, emotionally dependent, predictable. But when she came home Friday and saw half the closet empty and the jewelry drawer disturbed, that's when she called. 3 times in 20 minutes. I let them all ring out. Then I forwarded her number to voicemail permanently. She'd feel the silence first. Then the panic. Not just because I was gone, but because I didn't leave a single trace of what I knew. Saturday, she texted, "Where are you? This isn't funny. We need to talk. Call me." If this is about the money transfer, I can explain. I almost laughed at that last one. She didn't know how much I'd already seen. By Sunday, her tone shifted. "If you don't respond, I'll have to assume something's wrong. I'm contacting the police. Are you seriously ghosting your wife over this?" That word, wife, rang hollow coming from her. She'd been loyal to Ryland for months longer than she'd been faithful to me. But it didn't matter. I didn't need her admissions. I had documents. That weekend, I moved into a short-term rental under a business alias I'd used before. A 2-bedroom loft near downtown, clean and anonymous. The kind of place you vanish into when you're rebuilding. Or, in my case, when you're dismantling. Monday morning, I made my first move. I called our accountant, the one she trusted. Told him I'd found inconsistencies in the boutique's books and needed full statements going back 18 months. I was calm, professional. He didn't question it. "I'll pull them together," he said. "Anything I should know?" "Not yet," I replied. "But you'll see it." I already had. I just needed him to confirm it from the inside. Then I called a friend of mine, Brandon, a corporate lawyer I'd gone to college with. He owed me. Big. Years ago, I'd covered a scandal that could have cost him his license. Now I needed him sharp and discreet. I need a petition for divorce. Full asset protection. Aggressive terms. There was a pause. Is she expecting this? No. He exhaled slowly. Then it's going to hit her like a freight train. Good. We worked through the documents line by line. Every account flagged. Every business Mia tied to Ryland named directly. Brandon drafted motions to freeze shared assets, pending review. He said I'd have to act quickly. Mia still had enough access to move things. I already anticipated that. That afternoon, I met with Danielle again. I owed her that much. We sat in her car. She looked nervous. "I didn't know it was that bad," she said. "She's been funneling money into another man's real estate ventures using my business as cover. That's felony-level fraud." Danielle blinked. "Jesus. I'm not pressing charges. Not unless she pushes." Danielle nodded. "What happens now?" "Now," I said. "Now I take back what's mine." That night, I activated the kill switch on the boutique. I'd structured the business so that I retained majority ownership, 51% under a holding company Mia never bothered to research. She ran the day-to-day, but I held the contracts, the trademarks, the lease. I issued a formal notification to the board, 2 friends I'd quietly placed there, initiating a vote of no confidence in Mia's management. Citing financial misconduct, I moved to have her removed. They signed within the hour. The email went out at 9:43 p.m. Mia was officially suspended as CEO of her own company. She wouldn't find out until morning. When she did, I was ready. At 7:12 a.m. the next day, my phone rang from an unknown number. I answered on speaker. "What the hell did you do?" Her voice was shaking. Not angry. Afraid. "Check the books. You can't just—" "I built that business. With my money," I said. "Through my accounts. Under contracts you never read." "You bastard." I hung up. That was her warning shot. She didn't call again that day. Instead, her lawyer did. A calm, rehearsed voice left a message. "Mr. Weller, we've been retained by Mrs. Weller in regards to your recent actions concerning joint property and business entities. We request a formal meeting before any legal escalation." I forwarded the voicemail to Brandon. "Set the meeting," I said. "Public place. No delays. Wednesday at noon, we met at a neutral firm's conference room. Mia walked in like she was entering a boardroom she still controlled. Designer dress. Hair flawless. But her eyes darted. She knew the ground was slipping. I didn't look at her. I looked at her lawyer. Brandon opened the folder in front of him. Photos. Screenshots. Financial statements. The voice recording, transcribed. Before we discuss terms, Brandon said, we want you to understand that we're prepared to go public if necessary. Mia's lawyer paled. He didn't know. Mia did. She swallowed hard. Her hands clenched. Brandon continued. Our client is willing to settle privately. No criminal charges. No media. But all assets revert to him. Full ownership of the business. The house. Vehicles. Liquid accounts. That's not a settlement. Her lawyer snapped. That's annihilation. Brandon didn't flinch. Then we'll proceed to court. The silence stretched. Mia spoke finally, voice hoarse. You planned this. Yes, I said coldly. I listened, I watched, and I waited. Just like you taught me to. Her lawyer leaned in. You're bluffing. You wouldn't ruin your own wife like this. I stared him down. She's not my wife. Not anymore. Then I stood, buttoned my coat, and left. The last thing I heard before the door closed behind me was Mia's voice. But this time, it wasn't a laugh. It was a sob. The settlement was signed 2 weeks later. No court, no trial. Mia's lawyer folded the moment he saw the third set of documents, the one detailing how Ryland's name appeared on 3 of her fake invoices. His signature, his initials, his downfall. They agreed to everything. Full transfer of business ownership, relinquishment of the house. She even waived spousal support, probably thinking I'd take pity if she gave up fast enough. I didn't. The boutique shuttered within the month. I sold the brand, stripped the assets, and repurposed the storefront into a private investment firm. Same address, same lease, new name on the door. Ryland disappeared from public records soon after. He sold his condo below market value, closed 2 LLCs, and quietly filed for bankruptcy. I didn't have to lift a finger. Once his financials were exposed, the banks did the rest. Mia tried to call me once, a block number I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. You ruined both our lives. I hope it was worth it. I deleted it without listening to the rest. It was worth it. Every moment I'd spent sitting silently beside her, thinking I was the fool in the marriage, every skipped yoga class, every Thursday lie. I carried all of it like bricks in my back. Until now. But I didn't just want distance. I wanted perspective. So I went back. 3 months after the divorce finalized, I flew to our old honeymoon destination. Amalfi. The coast hadn't changed. Same cliffs. Same sky. But I stayed one night. Alone. No calls. No emails. I stood on the same balcony where I once promised her forever and said nothing. Just watched the sun go down. Then I checked out and left without telling anyone. Back home, people started whispering. Not about me. About her. Turns out, when a former boutique owner loses everything overnight, her house, her business, her public reputation, people talk. Especially when she's not seen in public for weeks. I didn't add fuel to the fire. I didn't have to. She posted once on social media. A picture of a cup of coffee. No caption. No smile. Just a hand. And that familiar gold bracelet. One I bought her when things were still good. The comments were brutal. Where'd the empire go, queen? Still doing yoga on Thursdays? Guess betrayal doesn't pay, huh? I didn't like it. Not because I pitied her, but because it felt messy. And I hadn't done this to destroy her. I did it to restore balance. I turned off notifications and moved on. 6 months later, I was invited to speak at a tech finance summit. Topic: recovery after loss, personal and financial. Fitting. I stepped on stage in a tailored suit. No ring. No past. They asked about risk, betrayal, rebuilding. I gave them facts. Strategy. They wanted drama. I gave them structure. When someone in the crowd asked what I'd tell my younger self, I said, pay attention to inconsistencies. People's words are often polite. Their habits are honest. The crowd laughed. I didn't. After the summit, a woman approached me. Mid-30s. Sharp blazer, sharper eyes. She handed me her card. I know what you went through, she said. Mine wasn't a husband. It was a business partner. Same lies, same money trail. I cleaned him out before he even saw the paperwork. We talked over drinks that night. Nothing more. But it felt clean. Not like closure. Something better. Control. That's the thing they never understand. The ones who lie. They think silence means weakness, that not reacting means you're unaware. But silence isn't surrender. Sometimes it's surveillance. Sometimes it's strategy. And when the time comes, it's execution. Now, when people ask me how I got through it, I don't tell them about the betrayal. I tell them about the night Danielle handed me the phone, about how a single voice message unraveled an entire empire of deceit. It wasn't the recording that changed everything. It was what I did after.